Welcome back, class. We are talking about the Native American Steel unit today, and we are talking about the Navajo Tribe. And the Navajo Tribe, like I said, they have some cultural differences from the other tribes we've talked about, and but they all of them ate similar foods. So, but we are going to talk about them and see what the differences were today. So, it's one of the largest tribes of the American Indians. The largest was the Cherokee tribe, and they lived in the Southwest in areas that are today Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. Name Navajo comes from the Spanish, who called them the Apaches of Navajo, and they called themselves Dine or the people. So, like I said, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. That's the areas they lived in, the Navajo.
Navajo Tribe. The Native American Navajo Tribe is one of the largest tribes of the American Indians. They lived in the Southwest in areas that are today Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. The name Navajo comes from the Spanish, who called them Apaches of Navajo. They called themselves Dine or the people.
All right, so the Navajo, we had the Iroquois, they lived in longhouses. They lived in what were called hogans. This is a hogan here. All right, it was a dome shaped house with a wood frame, and walls were made out of clay, which would be mud that they packed in. The door of the hogan always faced east so they could see the sun rise.
What type of homes did Navajo live in? Navajo lived in hogans. A hogan was a dome-shaped house with a wood frame and walls made out of clay. The door of the hogan always faced east so they could see the sunrise.
So they lived in a hogan. All right, Navajo were farmers who grew the three main crops that many Native Americans grew. They had corn, beans, and squash. Okay, that's a regular thing that you've seen throughout as we talk about this. And after the Spanish arrived in the 1600s, Navajo began to farm sheep, all right, and goats as well. And these sheep becoming a major source of their meat. And like most Native Americans, they hunted other animals like deer, rabbits. They made dishes like mutton stew, fried cornbread, and even grilled prairie dog. Uh, we may try some of this in our class sometime. Maybe the fried cornbread. I don't know about the grilled prairie dog, but we may try some of these dishes in our class at some point.
What did the Navajo eat? The Navajo were farmers who grew the three main crops that many Native Americans grew: corn, beans, and squash. After the Spanish arrived in the 1600s, Navajo began to farm sheep and goats as well, with sheep becoming a major source of meat. They also hunted animals for food like deer and rabbits. They made dishes like mutton stew, fried cornbread, and even grilled prairie dog.
All right. So, what type of clothes did they wear? All right. Before they started raising sheep, Navajo wore clothes made out of woven yucca plants or deer skin. All right. The men wore breechcloths like most Native Americans did, and the women wore skirts. And their shoes were soft leather moccasins, like typical Native Americans wore. And later they wore clothes woven from the wool of sheep after they were introduced to them.
What types of clothes did they wear? Before they started raising sheep, Navajo wore clothes made of woven yucca plants or deer skin. The men wore breechcloths and the women skirts. Their shoes were soft leather moccasins. Later, they wore clothes woven from the wool of sheep.
All right. And the Navajo, one thing they're really known for are their woven rugs and blankets, as you see here. They first learned to weave cotton from the Pueblo peoples, and when they started to raise sheep, they switched to wool. And these blankets were really valuable, and uh, and only the wealthy leaders could afford them. And they're still valuable today. People still seek them out today, looking for them. And they were often called the chief's blankets, though.
Navajo rugs and blankets. The Navajo are known for their woven rugs and blankets. They first learned to weave cotton from the Pueblo peoples. When they started to raise sheep, they switched to wool. These blankets were valuable and only the wealthy leaders could afford them. For this reason, they often called the chief's blankets today. Navajo rugs and blankets are still in demand and can still be quite expensive.
All right. And in the olden days of Navajo, the arts and crafts were divided between men and women. And women wove blankets, like we saw on the last page or the last slide, uh, and they made clay pots while the men made jewelry. This is what some of their jewelry would have looked like. And one form of jewelry that's still popular today is their silver jewelry. And they like to use turquoise in their jewelry.
Navajo jewelry. In the olden days of the Navajo, the arts and crafts were divided between men and women. Women wove blankets and made clay pots while the men made jewelry. One form of the jewelry that is still popular today is silver jewelry. Navajo like to use turquoise in their jewelry as well.
All right, the Long Walk. Now, this is a sad time, kind of like the Trail of Tears when we talked about the Cherokee. In 1864, around 9,000 Navajo were forced by soldiers on a march from Arizona to New Mexico. There was around 200 people that died during the 450-mile walk, and it was called the Long Walk. If you look, it went all the way from here to there, or from Arizona to New Mexico, through New Mexico. The relocation was very badly planned, and 4 years later, Navajo were allowed to return to their homeland after this. But there's around 200 people that died.
The Long Walk. In 1864, around 9,000 Navajo were forced by soldiers on the march from Arizona to New Mexico. Around 200 people died during the 450-mile trek called the Long Walk. The relocation was poorly planned and unsuccessful. 4 years later, the Navajo were allowed to return to their homeland.
All right, let's go into our comprehension question. Number one, where did the Navajo Native Americans live? They live in A, Florida, B, the Southwest, like Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah, or C, North Carolina. They lived in B, the Southwest.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Which was Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, where they lived. Number two, what type of house did the Navajos live in? Was it A, a farmhouse, B, a lake house, or C, a hogan? It was called a hogan. It was made of wood and had walls that were made out of clay.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Number three, what are the Navajo known for? What were they best known for? And they made something that was really valuable. Was it A, woven rugs and blankets, B, shoes, or C, books? It was blankets, woven rugs and blankets, and you can still, there's people still got by them today, still in pretty valuable, high demand, and they're pretty valuable today, even still.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Number four, what did the Navajo use in much of their jewelry? Was it A, silver and turquoise, B, leather, or C, malachite? It is A, silver and turquoise. They made some pretty jewelry out of silver, and then they used turquoise in a lot of their jewelry.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Number five, what was the march from Arizona to New Mexico called? It was a forced march that soldiers made a march. Was it called A, the Appalachian Trail, B, the Long Walk, or C, the Autobahn? It was called B, the Long Walk. There was about 200 of them that died, and 4 years later they got to move back to their land where they had to march from.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
All right, class, that's it for the Navajo. We'll be back next time with the Sioux Native Americans, and we'll be almost done with our Native American unit. Just be sure you go on Schoology, go through, turn it in so you get credit for it, and I will see you next time. You all have a very good day.